I the asshole for putting my brother on speaker and letting his fiance hear about what he's been asking me to do? Content: I, 23 male, and what people will call tech savvy. I know like a bunch of stuff about computer programming and mobile software, but seriously, I consider myself good since plenty of people come to me for help. For free, of course. So lately, my brother, 27 male, has been asking me to install a tracking app on his fiance's iPhone. Like, he had brought it to me twice and I refused after he tried to pressure me to do it. He even offered money, but I refused because I felt it was kind of wrong, and also, I only help out people who only want to be helped and like, don't have bad intentions. I refused because his fiance doesn't deserve this. I thought he had dropped it after I told him that if he asked me again, I'd tell her. Well, a couple of days ago, he calls me up while I was at my parents' house. His fiance happened to be there too. I answer the phone and he brings up the tracking app again. I put him on speaker and be like, sorry, come again? And he says, it's about the tracking app. I want it on my fiance's phone. I need you to do it tonight when I stop by with her phone. He proceeds on how he can no longer lie about her phone being missing when he hides it and brings it to me. Basically telling me this was the last chance he's got to put the app on there. My parents go silent, but his fiance looks shocked, then goes off on him, and then he hangs up and she grabs her purse and rushes out. My parents lash out on me, asking me what the heck I had done. I tell them he refused to get off my back after I warned him. They cuss at me saying I just caused a huge problem between my brother and his fiance and stuff like that. Later, my brother was calling non-stop, and when I gave no response, he sent a nasty text calling me names and stuff, then saying that I might have just compromised his entire relationship. I haven't seen nor heard from my family or him since then. I feel terrible, not gonna lie, and like I really messed up by putting a private conversation on speaker. So, am I the asshole? Know that this started right after his fiance got a new job. Am I wrong for choosing a name for my unborn baby that my ex picked out? A month ago, I, 24 male, found out that my girlfriend of 17 months, Caitlin, 21 female, is pregnant. She told me that she hoped it was a girl, so a couple of nights ago we started discussing baby names. I suggested Winter and she absolutely loved it. Winter was the name that my ex-girlfriend Alex came up with when me and her were expecting. Unfortunately, she miscarried. I ended up leaving Alex a month later because honestly, after she miscarried, I fell out of love with her. I started dating Caitlin a couple of months later. Caitlin ended up telling our friends that it was a girl and that she'll be naming it Winter. My friends are also still friends with Alex, and they knew that Winter was the name that we picked out when she was pregnant. My friends told Alex, and she said something along the lines of that she was kind of disappointed, but she wasn't surprised that I did this because I was a pig. She also said that at this point she didn't care because she didn't even want any kids anymore, and even if she did, she couldn't stop me from naming my baby Winter, even though it was supposed to be the name of the baby that she was carrying. I assumed that this gave me and Caitlin the green light to go ahead and name our baby Winter if it was a girl. I even thought Winter would be perfect because Caitlin already had a daughter named Autumn. But my friends and even some of my family members are telling me that this was an asshole move and was rubbing salt in the wound since I left Alex after she miscarried and I am now stealing her dead baby's name. I personally don't see anything wrong with it, especially since Alex said she doesn't care. But am I really the asshole? Would I be the asshole for only getting Christmas gifts for myself this year? So, I'm the black sheep of the family. I'm the weird one who everyone doesn't get, and every Christmas I hate it because I always feel left out. My family has a habit of getting me gifts that they like or just random shit. They will buy me clothes that I would never wear, knowing that I never dress like that, all because they think I should dress that way. They put maximum effort into gifts that they get each other, and I always feel like an afterthought. Mind you, it's not about the gifts. I don't care about that. What I care about is how they don't even care to take the time to try and actually think about the things I care about the way they do for each other and the way I do for them. Last Christmas, one of my aunts spent a crap ton of money buying the most luxurious gifts for each member of the family. She made a big show of it, lots of applauses and presentations. You know what she got me? A Harry Potter keychain, because she couldn't think of anything, as she told me in her own words. And guess what? Of all the gifts, it was the most thoughtful. I was so embarrassed and yet impressed that this one keychain was the most thoughtful gift. This year, I am planning on buying myself all the shit I like, wrapping it up, putting it under the tree, and opening it for myself. I am not planning on getting them gifts and explicitly telling them not to get me anything. I will not be participating in our annual Secret Santa, and if they decide to go on vacation, I will remain at home. I just don't want to keep feeling left out. I don't want to feel as if I'm an obligation, so I am taking myself out of the narrative. But at the same time, I feel as if this would be wrong.
I staged a robbery to steal from the store where I work. I work for a chain of 24-hour stores. Some time ago, I was working overnights, and I hated it. It made me fully nocturnal to the point that the sun actually burned my eyes when I went out during the day. I hated the store, hated my town, and hated all of my coworkers. Because of this, I was bordering on suicidal, so I would fantasize about just talking about the money and leaving for a good while I stocked shelves. Did this every night for months, but I knew jail would be worse, so I never did it. Well, one day, I was venting to a good friend about how I was feeling, basically telling him a lengthier version of that first paragraph. I figured he would tell me I'm going crazy and I should quit and find a new job that I don't hate so much. Instead, he and I came up with the idea to stage a robbery and take the money together. We took about 2 weeks to plan, and I even called out of one of the shifts so we could hammer out the fine details. The plan was that he would come in wearing a full face mask, long sleeves, and gloves so that you couldn't tell his ethnicity on the cameras. I also knew all the camera dead spots, so we planned his escape route in such a way he couldn't really be tracked by them. We had the whole thing rehearsed and ready as if we were putting on a play. So the night finally comes, and I had him wait until my coworker went on break so we wouldn't have an extra variable to plan around. He walks in during our deadest time of the night, and we start really playing up the whole thing. He's pointing this fake gun in my face, I'm putting my hands up, shaking my head, all that. He has me lead him to the office where he makes me empty the safe for him, then he has me empty the registers for him on his way out. I give him a few minutes head start when I pretended to be rattled and catch my breath, pretend I can't stop shaking enough to dial 911, and finally go alert my coworker that we were robbed and I was too freaked out to do it myself. The cops show up and take my statement. I told them he spoke with an accent that he did not. I fed them a lot of false info to take any suspicion away from my friend. My coworker saw nothing from the break room, so he couldn't give any info himself. It's corporate policy to give robbers whatever they want, so I do not get in any trouble. As a matter of fact, they paid me a bonus for handling it so well. They also took me off of overnight shifts. Later, I told them I wasn't comfortable here anymore, so I put in for a transfer to the town I've always wanted to live in. That process got expedited due to the situation. I'm not confessing to get it off my chest so much as I am because I couldn't be happier I did it. My life turned around immediately, and I have never been happier since I was a kid. Used all the money to finally start college. I stole thousands of dollars from a big company I worked for. This is a throwaway account because what I did was incredibly illegal. I also want to preface this by saying it was not a small business, so I was not stealing from someone's livelihood. A couple years back, I worked retail for a big technology company. When I say big, I'm talking about this company being worth billions. I'm sure you can figure out who it is. Anyone who has worked retail knows it's rough, but I have not ever experienced retail rough like this. Their customers were some of the meanest, most entitled, crazy sons of bitches I've ever met. After a couple of years, I started to hit my limit with the clientele. My best friend who also worked there passed away, so that didn't help my state of mind. If a customer was really rude to me and also bought insurance on their devices, I would sneak a gift card to the bathroom and return their insurance on the gift card which I pocketed. This went on until I quit, and I'm shocked I never got caught and arrested. I didn't even need the money. I was just angry at the world and didn't care about what happened to me. Of course, now I realize how stupid and lucky I was. I definitely feel guilty about it to this day and wish I never done it. Those customers might have been shitty that day, but they don't deserve to have paid that much money for something and not be able to use it. I hacked all the school calculators in my class in middle school. When I was in my 7th grade math class, I found out this trick on the calculators where you can change the k value and it would plug that into any equation. I changed the k value on it to 0 plus 69, which basically made almost any equation equal to 69. I showed my friend this because I thought it was funny, and every time we grabbed a calculator for class, we would do this before we put it back, so some kid's calculator would only give the answer 69. A few days later, my friends and I ended up changing all the calculators in our class to do that when the teacher was gone. Fast forward a week or two, and the teacher had a talk with all the students about it, and said if she found out who did it, they would get suspended. She said she had a lot of people trying to find out who it was, but nobody could. A few people suspected my friend, but nobody had proof. We were never caught.
I'm at the Asshole for kicking a server out of my wedding. I and my husband got married last Friday. We planned our dream wedding and even planned right down to our dream catering company. The wedding was beautiful, and after the pictures, we headed to our cocktail hour. And that's when I saw her. My guests were all told to wear dark colors so that my husband and I would stand out. And I also asked guests to wear minimal makeup, which I assumed was applied to the staff as well. The server, she was probably about 18, had clearly too much eyeliner on. She also had diamond studs in her ears and flashy rings, one of those ugly nose studs as well. The staff's uniform was black long sleeve shirt, but on her it was too low cut and her bags were far too tight. I asked another member of the staff to speak to their boss. When their boss came out, I pointed to the server and asked that she be dealt with because she was super distracting. Not even an hour later, the server was out back serving food for dinner. I called the boss over again and asked if the server could work in the back or go home. Her boss said that they were short-staffed, so that she would see what she could do. After a couple hours not seeing her, I saw the server again behind the bar, and I called the boss one more time. And said if the server didn't leave, I'd be calling for the cops. People said I was acting crazy.